Okay, are we waiting for anyone else to start the meeting?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so I'm remote and David is remote. I don't know how well this works since most of the people are in the room. So if anyone is, I'd at least like to make an introduction, but if anyone wants to drive some of the conversation locally there, that would be just fine with me for the 15 Austin Park application. Is Mindy present or is it Bridget?
It's Bridget. Hi, Justin.
Hi there.
Justin, 15 Austin Park isn't present at this time.
Do we know if they're going to attend?
I was told they were. I can make a phone call.
Well, let's go ahead and open the meeting. And I at least wanted to summarize the status of that. And that might give them a little bit of time to show up.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to open our meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay.
I'll vote aye.
Member Hoppin,
Aye.
Member Loda,
Aye.
Member Shannon, Member Marshall,
Aye.
Chair Blazer,
Aye.
motion passes.
Okay, so just to summarize the status of 15 Austin Park, the applicant should be well aware of this, so I don't mind talking about it if they're not here yet. After we received this application, there's some conversations behind the scenes on this, and because this involves demolishing part of the existing house, which is in the historic district in the village of Pittsford, that counts as demolishing portion of a historic structure. And our code has a requirement in there that we have a local list of type 1 actions. And one of those is demolishing something over 400 square feet, a structure over 400 square feet in the historic district. So because of that, this is going to trigger both a seeker review and an LWRP review. But the seeker review has a mandatory 30-day notice period. And I don't believe those mailings have gone out yet. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dorothea, but that 30-day time limit certainly has not elapsed yet. So we're not able to act on this until that notice period elapses.
I can't say if they've gone or not.
Well, we certainly have more than 30 days until our next meeting. So I believe our next meeting is, I don't know, 35 days or something like that from now. So there's time to deal with that. So what I was going to propose we do tonight is if the applicant attends, we can listen to what they have to say. They can introduce their project. We can open the public hearing. If anyone has any comments, we can listen to comments. If we have questions, we can ask the applicant questions. But I think ultimately one of the questions before the board is going to involve the HPB. So if the HPB receives this notice, if they have concerns on any aspect of this project, they would be certainly within their ability to comment on them, as this would be a coordinated review. So I would like to hear any commentary them or any other interested or involved agencies might have before we do serious discussion about this and start looking at findings. So that's where I'm at on this. If anyone wants to chime in, by all means, go ahead.
So, Justin, shouldn't we kind of formally ask HPB to weigh in?
Well, we could do a referral to them, but the seeker notice will automatically give them notice of it and they can comment on it. If you would like to do a formal referral, we certainly could. I think a key question is whether they have concerns about any aspect of this. Or at least I think it'd be useful for us to understand that.
I agree. I'd love to know what they
So what I was planning to do, if you let me, and by all means, let me know if you want to take a different approach. You'll get a secret referral. I can follow up with the chairperson and just let them know that, hey, this is an opportunity for you to weigh into us on this, and let them know they are welcome to take a look at it and send us any comments, particularly on matters involving seeker, like impact on historic resources, impact on aesthetic resources, and those type of things. And several of us have gone through this in the past. Not everybody here has. But if you would rather do a formal letter of some type, by all means, we could do that. I just thought a quick phone call or email to them to clarify that they can comment would probably suffice.
No, Justin, if that's the plan, that's fine. I'm good.
Okay.
15. Justin, the applicant is here now.
Okay, the applicant is here now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I might just chime in briefly on that last topic. With regards to a formal versus an informal request to the HPB, by having a formal request, everybody may see the request for information and comment, whereas with an informal request, it may just go before the chair, depending on how it gets distributed or disseminated. I don't know, that's not our bailiwick. So there is, I think, some benefit to a formal request to the HPB for comment rather than an informal one.
I believe there will be a formal letter going to the entire HPB,
Okay.
alerting them to the seeker. The question is, how do they respond? Last time this happened, they didn't respond at all.
Okay.
And I guess they weren't aware that they could respond. I don't know.
Does
So
a
I thought,
formal does a formal request require a formal response, in which case it might be a better process?
that would be up to them as to whether they want to respond. If they want to respond, they can. If we're only required to wait 30 days for a response.
Okay.
If we don't get one, we can move on. If we do get one, we should consider it.
Okay, I'm okay with that approach.
But it will, that should go to the entire board. And I don't know if, like I said, I don't know how they would respond to it. That's other than they'll have an opportunity to.
Okay. Bridget, is there any standard process here, or either one works for you?
What Justin is describing is the standard process. There's a notice that goes out to all interested agencies and coordinated review, inviting them to comment and giving them the date of a public hearing and asking them to comment before then. So that is the appropriate process, but it's voluntary. They don't have to participate if they don't want to.
Let's do that then. Sounds good.
Yeah, so Dorothea, I guess the one thing to note is that in the notice letter, if that goes out, if you're coordinating that, make sure that the people understand in that letter that we're requesting comments in addition to requesting lead agency authorization.
Our standard letter does reflect that.
Okay, good. Okay, so with that said, now that the applicant is present, here is my thought of how we're going to handle this tonight. I already mentioned this to the board, so I'll repeat this. But given that this is going to trigger an environmental review and we're still in the comment period waiting for comments from other agencies, what I would like to do is allow the applicant to introduce their project, and noting that one of the primary concerns we're interested in is how this would impact adjacent properties. So if they want to discuss anything like drainage, their intentions for landscaping, lighting, those are some key things we often take a look at. The applicant's welcome to introduce their project. Then we can open the public hearing, listen to any comments that people have. And then my expectation is we'll leave the comment period open and continue discussion at our September meeting, where we can wrap up the seeker environmental review and any other loose ends we have with this, based on any comments we might receive. So that's how I'm planning to go forward with that tonight. So with that said, unless there's any objections, I would like to invite the applicant to go ahead and introduce their project, and we'll be all ears listening.
You're welcome, come on.
Okay. So I'm Chris Brandt from Bear Architecture, so I'm taking, or I'm substituting for my colleague Lindsay Yoder, who's the project architect for this project. And I believe all of you have,
I'm just gonna move this a little bit.
I believe the,
So, hold on, before we get into this, may I pause a moment? I believe I skipped over our conflict of interest disclosure.
Yes, you did. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll disclose I'm going to recuse myself from 75 Monroe discussion, but I otherwise have no conflicts of interest to disclose.
I have none.
I have none.
Me neither.
Dave Marshall, I have none.
Okay.
Okay, continue. Sorry for the interruption.
so I'm Chris Brandt from Bear Architecture. I mentioned before, I am substituting for my colleague Lindsay Yoder, who is the project architect for this particular application. I brought a full set of full-size set of drawings with me, but I know that you guys have already been provided digital copies of such, but I'm happy to sort of page through them as we go through it, and will do my best to answer your questions. In addition to the packet, I've got a little just summary of the zoning and bulk requirements with excerpts from the code, as well as a summary of the bulk and coverage of the proposed addition to the property.
Nice.
Okay, so if I start with the site plan for concern. So the two principal areas of addition to the existing house are where we have an existing single-story garage wing that's facing towards Austin Park and sort of serves as the primary elevation of the house, although the front of the house faces towards the Erie Canal. That single-story garage addition is proposed for demolition, and then replacement by a two-car garage with a second-story master bedroom addition above that. The second addition, which is in the plans but has recently now been removed because of budgetary concerns, is the sort of den addition into the existing porch. So where the project currently stands now is that our clients intend to retain the porch as it is and not proceed with the addition over that porch. So that does decrease the size and bulk of the project from what was submitted. So that was sort of more recently after reviewing pricing from contractors. In regards to the surrounding site, so we've indicated in the site plans and then essentially this exact physical representation of what you've got in your packet, where we're reorienting the walks and approach to the house. So the former front door is being replaced with a window to match the adjacent windows on that first story. And then we have a new entry facing towards Austin Park with a rather sort of short pedestrian walk leading from the newer driveway. So there's a slight reorientation and diminishing of the area of the existing driveway to accommodate the new two-car garage. I'm happy to answer questions on site plan before I go to anything else relating to drainage and elevations of the building.
So far, so good?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Briefly look at these. These are just essentially more clear, larger architectural plans showing the same what we just sort of touched on. We have the demolition plan up here, which is still sort of showed in a more diagrammatic version on your site plan. But there's the garage wing to be demolished, the entry, its associated walks and driveway, and then the new 2-car garage entry foyer, and then, as I mentioned, the den into the former porch space, which how we're just retaining the porch. We will not be pursuing the den addition and its associated second story.
Is that an enclosed porch?
Right now, it's open.
Okay.
So what's the square foot reduction?
So that would be,
Or is this right in front of me?
yeah, on the second face or second page. So the den represents a 215 square foot addition. So we're diminishing that addition, or sorry,
Okay.
diminishing the overall size of the completed project by 215 square feet.
Okay, doke.
And if we go to so on the additions, we have new downspouts as indicated in the roof plan, essentially 2 for each portion of the roof, and then they, similar to the current downspouts, are discharging onto grade onto a splash block. I believe there's no current underground stormwater system present property. And then on the lighting, I should have this indicated here on our elevations. So starting at your top right, so this is the Austin Park elevation. So we have the new 2-car garage, the entry addition, and then the sort of master bedroom second floor. You can see sort of inset from the existing mass of the house and would be projecting out, but it's not projecting out anywhere near as far as the 2-car garage. And then it doesn't print out. So the intent is to have lighting placed above each one of these sort of portions of the wall on the garage. And there would be a light at the sort of overhang there of the covered entry. Then looking from the, we'll call the Erie Canal facade or east elevation there, this is the new window that's replacing the former entryway. We see the 2-story addition, and then the garage projecting out a little further than that on that elevation. And then carrying along, so as mentioned, so the den, which we're seeing in both these elevations, so that's going to remain as a porch. It's not being constructed as designed due to budgetary constraints. So I think that's it for me. I'm happy to field questions.
I guess the only comment I have is it looks like you're looking at plans that are different than what are on the website. So I don't have anything, the roof plan you mentioned and the lighting plan, I don't have that. So, but just make sure that the village office has a copy of all of those so that they can put it in the information for the next meeting.
Yeah, we can, we'll email a PDF of this full set for your guys' records.
Since the people in the office are looking at it, if you have any comments or questions, by all means, ask them.
There's no grade level differentiation between neighbors, or if it just is going into the drainage, is just going onto a splash?
Right. Right, and yeah, there's no drastic change to the existing grade as it is. So some of the existing downspouts already discharged to grade. The most, there's a, we'll go to the site plan. There's an existing swale. That is on the west property line. It's sort of shared between our client's property and then the adjacent house here. So there is a swell there that collects water and then connects into the sort of drainage, or larger drainage swale that a lot of the driveways pass over. And then there's a sort of much broader what I'll call, lower slope floodplain almost,
To the canal.
as it were, to the canal.
Right.
And that's, much sort of further out, as a reminder that our property is adjacent to New York State property.
Right.
And then you get to the canal, whereas we're not bordering right on the canal, though it
Right. serves
serves ostensibly as the very generous front yard for our clients'
Right.
use, benefit of New York
Nice.
State.
I looked at that house many years ago to purchase it, and I had a very small child at the time, and that front yard looked like it was very enjoyable.
So the only part really being demolished is the old garage,
Right.
Correct.
and there's no basement under the garage or anything.
No.
Yeah, I guess the only other question I might have is the driveway reconfiguration. Maybe you want to give some introduction as to how you're modifying the driveway.
Right, so as indicated on the site plan, so and even if we were to look at maybe the, I think it's more helpful to see them overlaid. So on the site plans, we hit the dotted line, which are these demo lines that we see on the larger floor plans on the A10 sheet. So that's sort of showing the existing alignment of the driveway, and then you can see it sort of shifting over and also decreasing in width, because currently the broader driveway adjacent to the house is both accommodating vehicular access to the garage as well as making that sort of meeting point for the pedestrian access, whereas now it's just strictly vehicular, and now we have a pedestrian walk coming in perpendicular to it and not having to sort of bleed over larger asphalt. So we are decreasing the impervious pavements on the property.
I had a conversation with Steve about this, and he thought the impervious pavement is going to comply with code. And he thought the square footage of the structure and so on also complied with the code. So he didn't seem to have any concerns. This didn't trigger any variances. I don't know if Steve is present in the room.
No,
Okay, well, hopefully at the next meeting, he can tell us what his findings on code requirements are. But as of right now, I'm not aware of any problems. And Steve can also talk about his assessment of the drainage situation. I don't have any more questions at this time. So I would suggest, unless anyone else does, let's just open the public hearing.
So moved.
second?
Roll call. Member Shannon?
Aye.
Member Marshall?
Aye.
Member Loda?
Aye.
Member Hoppen?
Aye.
Chair Bleastra?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, so I guess if there's anyone in the room, I don't see anybody else logged in online, but the general comment is if anyone is online and would like to submit a comment, to hit the raise hand button. And if anyone's in the room and wants to submit a comment, then raise your hand.
I have nothing online and I have nothing in the room.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
So if that's the status of it, my thinking then is let's just leave the public hearing open until our next regular meeting. And we'll look to see if we get any comments back from the seeker process, and we'll continue the discussion then. Dorothea, do you have the date of the next meeting?
Not offhand.
Do you intend to make a motion to declare yourselves lead agency?
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Okay, Member Loda?
Aye.
Member Marshall?
Aye.
Member Shannon?
Aye.
Member Hoppen?
Aye.
Chair Boystra?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And a motion to classify the action as type 1, subject to the town's type 1 list.
Village's type 1 list.
Sorry, the village, I apologize.
Are you
Okay,
making
so moved.
second?
Roll call. Member Moda?
Aye.
Member Marshall?
Aye.
Member Shannon?
Aye.
Member Hoppen?
Aye.
Chair Boystra?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Is this needed GML 239M referral since it's next to state land?
I believe this is minor site plan review, which is exempted from Monroe County planning referral.
Thank you, Justin.
And that's exempted by the agreement we have with the county planning board.
Excellent. Then I have no more suggestions.
Well, thank you for your suggestions.
Anytime.
Okay, then. I'm taking a look at the calendar online, if I can find it. Our next meeting is September 7th. So I will make a motion to leave the public hearing open and continue discussion at our next regular meeting on September 7th.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Member Loda?
Aye.
Member Marshall?
Aye.
Member Shannon?
Aye.
Member Hoppen?
Aye.
Chair Boystra?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, the next topic for discussion, I'm going to leave the meeting and after meeting minutes discussion. So meeting minutes will be our next topic of discussion, and then I'm going to leave so the 75 Monroe application can proceed. I believe that was a proposed order for tonight. That said, I've already looked at most of these minutes and submitted some revisions for them, and I think they've been included in here. So I don't have any revisions for those. So I think whomever else is present in the room, and Dave, if you have any thoughts, by all means, drive the conversation.
I just had a couple, relatively minor. And I guess it's more of a legal question. So on the June 7th motion, when we ruled on consistency and inconsistency determination, we took that vote simply by saying consistent or inconsistent. I suspect that's not the official way to do it. It should have been a yes or no vote. And so it was reworded in the minutes such that it could be a yes, no vote. Is that reasonable to do?
Yeah, and I think that that's further bolstered by the vote on the findings this evening.
Okay, thank you. And then the only other comment was one of, this is on, so let's proceed, hang on just a second. This is for the minutes on Wednesday, June 1st, 2022. At 6:30, I wanted to strike 2 paragraphs from the minutes due to relevance. And this has to do with, this is the start of the LWRP discussion, and they were independent paragraphs rather than embedded in comments from the applicant. And as a result, I think they should just be struck. The one is the project's been downsized since the beginning from 220 to 150 and 35% less. While true, I just would find that to be something to be struck. And then in 2015, the brownfield cleanup paragraph as well. Again, absolutely that occurred. We appreciate it, but from a relevance perspective to the LWRP at that time, I don't think it's necessary to stay within that minutes. If anybody else disagrees, I'm fine keeping it in.
Were those 2 issues discussed during the meeting?
Yeah, as was lots of other stuff. It's just a question of relevance to the meetings, but I can understand if people feel like they'd like to leave it in, that's okay.
I'd kind of like to leave it in.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't have anything else. I thought everything was well done, And thanks. So no comment or no adjustments for me then.
So we want to start approval on October 18th.
Mhm.
Do we have a motion on that?
Was there any comments on 10:18 minutes?
I don't have any.
None here.
Okay, someone want to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Aye.
Hang on.
Okay, Member Loda,
Aye.
Member Marshall,
Aye.
Member Shannon,
Aye.
Chair Bellistra,
Aye.
Member Hoppen will be abstaining.
Yep, she wasn't present.
Right. Make sure we go in order here. January 19th,
I have nothing.
Move to approve.
Second.
Member Loda,
Aye.
Member Shannon,
Aye.
Member Marshall,
Aye.
Chair Bellistra,
Aye.
Member Hoppen abstaining. Okay. February 2nd,
Nothing from me.
No comments.
Nothing.
okay. Motion,
Um,
Justin?
yeah, I was looking at this here and yeah, I guess I'm fine with it. Oh, yes. I'll approve it.
so you're making the motion?
Well, I was just wondering if this was, my only question was, I was wondering if, no, I think this is the correct version. So I think it's fine. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Member Loda,
Aye.
Member Marshall,
Aye.
Member Shannon,
Aye.
Chair Bellistra,
Aye.
Member Hoppen abstains. Motion passes. May 4th. Any changes?
Good here. Justin does a good job.
Okay.
No changes.
Motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, Member Loda,
Aye.
Member Marshall,
Aye.
Member Shannon,
Aye.
Chair Bellistra,
Aye.
Member Hoppen abstains. Motion passes. Okay, June 1st. No changes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Member Loda,
Aye.
Member Shannon,
Aye.
Member Hoppen,
Aye.
Chair Marshall,
Aye.
I don't believe I was present for this, was I?
No, that was 75 in a row.
motion passes.
So I'll abstain.
Yep. And June 7th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Member Loda,
Aye.
Member Shannon,
Aye.
Member Hoppen,
Aye.
Chair Marshall.
Aye.
I'm abstaining.
Yep, abstains, motion passes.
If I may, Justin, June 1st, we also, I believe, discussed the Copperleaf Brewing chairs. So the minutes passed regardless of your abstention, but you were there for some of it.
Yeah, it's probably best that, since there are portions I wasn't there for, to just let you guys handle it.
Yep.
We have the three, so good.
Yep.
Okay,
Great.
All right, I will be leaving the meeting now. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, Justin. All right. Well, I guess without further ado, we want to welcome the applicant for 75 Monroe. Is Chris there in the room?
Yes.
We sure are, both Chris's and Peter Vars.
All right. Would you gentlemen like to come up to the front?
I promise.
Yeah, I don't think Peter's just going to give a brief overview of the changes. You can sit right here in the back.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
He's going to explain that he's talked to Jim Burton at TY Lynn, and Jim Burton talked to your attorney and is satisfied, and we're going to ask for amended site plan approval.
Yeah.
Peter, much to talk about?
Well, all right. Well, what I thought I might do now that you guys are up here is first welcome back and appreciate all your time and effort into this and the work that you've done from the last time that we discussed site plan and now. Sorry I couldn't be there this evening. I have COVID, so I'm here at the house, and it's probably better than getting you all sick. So for this evening, we've already handled the conflicts of interest. I just wanted to outline to you the order of events, and then we can proceed from there with moving forward. The first thing we'll be doing is adopting the LWRP findings, so they'll be made available and official after this evening. And then we have, we'll have you guys talk a little bit about the amendments and how the drawings have changed from the times that we first looked at it in June. And then we'll have TY Lynn provide any comment. I know they're not here this evening, so it might just be Peter summarizing some things. And then we'll go into some discussion and deliberations. At that point, I did want to ask Bridget, do we open a public hearing this evening or no?
No.
No, okay. So then after that, we may move forward on the site plan vote as Christian, you had mentioned.
Correct.
Okay. So the first order of business is the official adoption of the LWRP findings, so we can provide those to everybody. Do we need to read that resolution? And if so, is that something, Dorothea, you might be able to do, or can we just simply make a motion to adopt as provided?
You can make a motion to adopt as provided.
Do I have that resolution? Was Kristen provided that resolution?
I thought that she was, but I can give you a copy. I can give you my copy.
Well, maybe we could make some copies of that, so available to the public.
I request that the secretary of the board be provided all documentation prior to meetings. This keeps happening and it puts us in an ill position.
Apologies.
Yeah, no, it just, thank you, I appreciate it, just puts us in a bad position. Thank you.
So without further ado, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the LWRP findings as drafted and the resolution accordingly.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Member Loda?
Aye.
Chair Marshall?
Aye.
Member Shannon?
Aye.
Member Hoppin? Aye. Motion passes.
Okay. We have no other official business, is that correct, Bridget?
Correct.
All right. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to the gentleman to discuss the site plan amendments and where we are today.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So my name is Peter Vars with BME Associates. Won't really take much of your time, but really just the purpose is to update you as to what's transpired since we last appeared a few weeks ago at the July meeting. If you recall, at that meeting, there was a representative from TY Lynn. One of the purposes of that meeting was going through the TY Lynn Task 2 report. And if you recall, they were walking the board through that report. The Task 2 report was looking at the two sections of the code as it relates to site plan review and approval. And they had identified those areas that the site plan application at that time was in compliance or where it was in compliance. And then they had comments of what additional information they were requiring or requesting to receive. The important thing at that meeting, though, was, if you recall, the board authorized TY Lin and BME to engage with each other and basically work together, so to speak, exchange the necessary information that we could directly work with them. And that's what we have done over the past weeks. We were in contact with TY Lin on 3 separate occasions. The first 2 occasions were over the phone to go through their task 2 report, primarily so that we understood clearly the comments, so we knew how to address it. All of this leading up to what we submitted back to this board on July 20th, which was the date requested so that it met the necessary requirements for this meeting this evening. So in those first 2 weeks of July, we worked with TY Lin, got our clarifications. Subsequently, in an email and a document they provided to us on July 5th, they pretty much had identified that everything, in their opinion, had been addressed. They had some remaining comments, and we addressed those such that on July 20th, the package that we submitted on BME letterhead took every task 2 comment and identified how we addressed it. And we provided also a full sets of plans. And at the request of TY Lin, we clouded in a red squiggly line where the revisions were made. These were the revisions that TY Lin asked to be made to the plans. They asked that we cloud them in red so that it was easily identifiable where the change had been made. So we submitted this information on the 20th as required. We met as recently as yesterday afternoon with Mr. Burton as one final review as to go through this letter to confirm. I am going to repeat what he said, and I believe, I don't want to put any words in your mouth, but I believe he spoke with you, Bridget, this morning also.
Correct.
But at that meeting yesterday, Mr. Burton acknowledged or said to us that in their opinion, the task 2 report comments had been addressed. In other words, they had all of the information they needed that completed task 2, such that, in their opinion, that this board could move forward with their consideration of the amended site plan approval. Because what is out there next is, once that step occurs by the PZBA, TY Lin then gets to go into task 3, which is the technical items that is typically a condition of a PZBA approval. If you're familiar with it, you think back to the November 11th, 2014 original site plan approval. There were conditions of approval in there that talked about, obtain your New York State DOT permit or address at the time the village engineering comments. That's where we're at today with TY Lin, that they are at a position that we've addressed all of the code required items that has been submitted, so that now TY Lin, they're comfortable that a condition of approval is, the term we use in our world is address the technical issues, the technical comments. They're not necessarily site plan issues, it's pipe information and sewer information. So that's where we believe we are. So that's really all I wanted to present to you this evening. Obviously, we can discuss any one of these comments if there's a question as to something. So I will leave it at that.
Great. Thank you, Peter.
That was consistent with my conversation with Mr. Burton this morning.
Thank you. So there are a couple, go ahead, sorry.
Is there a proposed resolution on this matter before the board that's been prepared?
Not for tonight, no.
Okay. Just checking, sorry.
So the next step, what I would like to do is maybe ask for just some verbal comments with regards to some of those items in the past that we had spoke on. I guess, could you talk a little bit about the restaurant and the clubhouse usage?
Sure. That was actually one of the comments we received in talking with Mr. Burton. He wanted clear identification. So in our letter, On page 2, it is the response to comment D2, or item D2. Right in the middle of the page, there is the paragraph there that identifies what the clubhouse uses. And I'll quote, it says, "The clubhouse will include a leasing office, amenity space for residents, and a fitness center for residents." It talks about the leasing agent. It has the parking provided. It notes 125 seat restaurant could be located in there. And then we have 6 bulleted items that come right from the special use permit that was issued that identify hours of operation, outdoor entertainment, all the provisions that were implemented or implied with the special use permit. So that's on page 2 of our letter that clearly identifies. And that is something we went back and forth with once or twice with Mr. Burton, because where he said, I need a little bit more detail here or there. And that was the summation that we got it all on here. And it is also on the site plans itself. That got added to the plans and thus, led Mr. Burton to yesterday saying, okay, he's good with that item.
Thank you. And specifically, those 6 items that you present there are direct from the special use permit.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any other questions on the clubhouse or the restaurant?
No, that was clear.
No.
I might follow it up with just the question on parking, because sometimes they'll correlate together. I believe the questions on parking relative to residents, the restaurant, public spaces, that's all done in phase 3. Is that correct?
Yes, that is one of the things Mr. Burton mentioned yesterday, that he said that's when because our site plan does include the complete parking tabulation. I'm taking a picture so I can expand it and read it on my phone if somebody wants to. I have reduced plans here and my eyesight is horrible. So, but the calculations are on there based on parking spaces required, based on number of seats in the restaurant, parking spaces required based on the number of residential units, parking spaces required based on visitor parking space, and then parking spaces available for public use of the canal site amenities. So all of that information is present, and Mr. Burton did say yesterday that that is a task 3 item for them to review that and make the same make the determination that yes, that is compliant with parking standards.
Okay, thank you. Just an open-ended question on the docks. So in placing the docks there, how do you intend, if at all, is it under your purview to regulate those? Are there any comments that might be forthcoming from the engineer? Is that determined by, Chris, the applicant, or the town or the village if we have some sort of ordinance? Which right now the village does not have a docking ordinance, is my understanding.
Regulations on public docking.
Yeah, so Dave, I can answer a couple of those questions, and if it's not the gist of your comment, obviously clarify. Obviously, all of the docking that we do has to be permitted through the Canal Corporation. So they have, as Mr. Nadler just kind of said, they have regulations and criteria as it relates to public versus private access, things like that. So best way maybe to put it, as they're the permitting authority, and we have to make sure that those requirements also comply with any village docking requirements or docking ordinance. So that's our job, is to look at all of those and make sure they dovetail together and everything's in compliance.
Yep. So that's a great question. I might continue down that path. As of now, the village doesn't have, and my understanding is there is no docking ordinances at all within the village. So the development projects is certainly within the village. I don't know the states of the Canal Corps' requirements with regards to docking. And I guess my question might be more to, Chris, to what extent does he see the dock, should the state permit extended stay overnight docking, and the village doesn't have any requirements Do you see this to be sort of a long-term parking for tenant boats? Or do you think it's going to be more free-flowing with the restaurant? Or is this not even anything we can ask as part of site plan?
Well, I'll let Mr. Nadler answer that, but there's one thing I do want to point out, Dave. We have several instances of where have obtained permits from the Canal Corporation to dock on the canal. Everything from an individual's house dock to improvements in the village of Fairport along their canalway for larger scale type developments. I can tell you the Canal Corporation itself does not necessarily dictate whether a dock is private or public. That is, it just has to be acknowledged in the permit application what it will be. It doesn't change anything in how they administer their permitting, whether it's extended stay or whatever. In the eyes of the canal, that is a home rule issue. That is up to the standards of the municipality or the property that it's on. So the Canal Corporation, basically, they don't want to get involved in that. They just look at it as it relates to the navigable waterway. But I'll let now Chris speak.
Well, they do get involved if you're operating a marina.
Correct.
And our residents park their boats there under New York State law would be a marina. And that's a whole different permit that I don't think we'd be eligible for even.
Okay, thank you. No, that's helpful. So what you're suggesting is an extended long-term stay type of environment begins to present itself as a marina, and therefore that is uniquely different than docks. And to that end, you see this as a little bit more of a free-flowing docking for the restaurant or for the environment than a permanent spot for, residents' boats.
Yes.
Okay, but that's nothing within site plan. Maybe Bridget, correct me if I'm wrong. Based on the prior plan, I don't know the difference between where we are today versus where we are then. But if it's not substantially adversely different, there's really no.
I don't have anything to add to this conversation. I think we can move on to any other comments.
Okay, great. The location of all dumpsters, screenings, and things along those lines. I forget which of the bullets that was. That's been provided.
Yes, I don't know exactly the comment either, but yes, the trash collection is a combination of the locations are specified on the site plan. That is one of the clouded red revisions. And then also the notation was put on because I think the outstanding comment from T.Y. Lin back a month ago was making sure we identified the trash collection plan for the clubhouse. And that was the site plans acknowledged the trash collection plan, which is interior totes, an interior trash room with totes. That is on site plan now.
On site plan now. Okay. And prior to this evening, the last clubhouse had a little different design when we were talking about LWRP. Today, the look of it's different, but again, there's comments in here that it's not substantially adversely different than when we looked at it last. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Everything with the fire chief going reasonably well, the fire marshal?
Yes, that was one of the core issues of our discussions with T.Y. Lin, which leads to the point of where he believed, where Mr. Burton stated yesterday, confirmed with Bridget, that the responses we provided to those fire code comments were satisfactory. For the benefit of everybody here, what we did is we provided the extended or expanded fire lanes, we provided the turnaround, we made the site plan revisions that were requested within the task 2 report.
To submit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. One other follow-up question, I'll probably have a few more, but just one other, this has a little bit to do with what will be included in the engineer's report. Various folks may talk about soil remediation, which you've done so well to achieve, or connecting to public infrastructure or traffic. And I just want to make it known that all this is phase 3.
That is correct.
Okay. Any other questions that members of the board have, or the applicant or representatives that they'd like to discuss in advance of us moving toward deliberations on site plan standards?
No, I think some of my questions will be addressed in the phase 3.
Okay. Anybody else? Katie, Joanne?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. At this point, I'd like to move forward and deliberate on site plan standards. Actually, one more thing before I do, I just want to talk a little bit about what an amended site plan is and where we are today. We have a site plan that's been approved from back in 2014-15, and today this is an amended site plan. And the key is as we move forward in these deliberations, to understand if there's anything that is substantially adversely different. And the key is it substantial and is it adverse? And so there may be some degree which some may feel it is adverse, but is it substantial? And to what degree is it different? Some things can be different, but not substantially adverse. So what our judgment is to look at what's back in 2014-15, the site plan that was approved then, where are we today, and how is it different? And I just want to point to the agenda item and provided material from T.Y. Lin. This was on their task 1 report. And I just want to revisit that for a moment. No need to bring it up, but it does reference in very nice, neat fashion and graphically many different areas and features of this site plan versus the site plan from 2014, specifically referencing the degree by which the plan may have changed or decreased or increased for different types of provisions. And those may be some things that we talk about as we move forward in deliberating on the site plan standards this evening, or at least referencing that document exists again. With that being said, I'd like to start the process. And let me just get my major site plan review. And this is, my understanding, this is code section 21034.5, site plan review considerations. And reading from the code, the planning board shall consider the following when reviewing a major or minor site plan and shall include a statement of findings for such consideration in any decision rendered herein. So the first one is conformance with the Pittsford Village Comprehensive Plan and Town and Village Local Waterfront Revitalization Program where applicable. The application, and anybody fill in and jump in when you'd like. I might say a couple words regarding the consideration and then move on unless there's additional discussion. As we know from the prior application and the prior site plan approval, that it was deemed that the project was consistent with the comprehensive plan. There were findings made then in that we believe, or at least T.Y. Lin's opinion, as mine, this plan is not substantially adversely different. I find no reason to state that it is not in compliance with the comprehensive plan due to its where we are today versus where we were then. Any additional comments?
Not here.
I don't have anything.
Okay, so moving on, the second part of that sentence was the village local waterfront revitalization program, that it was in conformance with. On June 7th, this board found the project as applied to be inconsistent with the LWRP. We understand that's in current appeal process. So at this time, that is an outstanding condition, of course, and as we move forward, we will reflect upon any additional conditions in the next phase. Conformance with the district building use and lot requirements of the chapter. That was previously consistent. I see no reason to feel differently. Adequacy and arrangement of vehicular traffic and circulation, including intersections, road widths, traffic controls, traffic calming measures, and accessibility to fire and emergency vehicles. I think we've talked extensively about that in this plan relative to the prior plan, but also in addition with TY Lin. And some of this may come forward in the engineer's report, but at this time I have no further questions or comments.
Right.
Anybody else? Adequacy and arrangement of pedestrian and bicyclist access and circulation, including separation from vehicular traffic and connections provided internally and externally to the site. Again, we've talked, I think, extensively about this with the applicant. The current application as proposed is not substantially adversely different than the prior application as applied and received site plan approval in 2014. So again, here I think we move forward to the next consideration. Compatibility of proposed uses to adjacent uses, considering building orientation, site design, and transitional treatments. In common as before, nothing substantially adversely different than the previously approved site plan. Any additional comment?
No.
Adequacy of off-street parking, loading, and access management provisions as provided for by Article 25 of the chapter. Some of that's going to get done in the engineering report, phase 3. So we'll let that one move forward from now. That additional work will be done. Adequacy of landscaping and screening provisions as provided for in Article 26 of this chapter. The current plans are not in any way substantially adversely different than the prior plans. And as a result, I think we move forward and let the engineers do the work on this if there's anything else we need to know about.
Right.
Location, arrangement, size, and design of proposed on-site signage and other incidental buildings or site amenities. You did provide some additional information on signage and posting. And we can wait for the engineers to provide feedback on that. Is that correct? Or is this something that we do completely separately? My understanding it's engineer side, but I might be wrong.
I think that falls into phase 3 as well.
Say that again.
Phase 3.
Phase 3, sorry.
Thank you, Bridget. So that moves on to phase 3. That's great. Thanks for providing that additional information. Adequacy of proposed outdoor lighting to address safety concerns and prevent light trespass onto adjacent properties in compliance with other outdoor lighting provisions in this chapter. Again, nothing is substantially adversely different than the prior site plan as approved. That's according to our engineers and any additional review. Any other comments from the board?
No.
All right, moving forward. And the engineers may have comment there as well, so we'll defer. Adequacy of existing or proposed stormwater drainage, erosion, and management plans. They go on to talk about stormwater drainage, 10-year rainfall frequency. There's no way I'm going to be able to determine that, so we're going to defer to the engineers on phase 3. Any additional comment?
No.
Adequacy of existing or proposed water and sanitary sewer systems. Same, phase 3. Adequacy of proposed waste and trash management plan. I thank you for providing additional details. I think there is somebody probably knows better whether or not the plan as proposed is going to work. So that I believe gets done in phase 3 as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Adequacy of snow storage and proposed snow removal plan. Again, nothing substantially adversely different than before. I think this is a move forward. Engineers can offer comment if they have any. And then final, whether or not the proposal will adversely affect the health, safety, or general welfare of adjacent property owners in the community. To the extent that this application, based on the information provided by TY Lin, is not substantially adversely different than the site plan that was approved in 2014, I see no additional comment to provide at this time.
Likewise.
Any other comments from the board with regards to the standards discussed in major site plan approval at this time?
None here.
Any comments from the applicant? I don't know if now's a good time to ask that or not, but any other questions?
No comments.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve PCP's application for site plan approval as amended on July 20th, 2022, subject to conditions relating to technical review by our consultants, conformity with the special use permit, receipt of a certificate of appropriateness, determination of consistency with the LWRP, and directing the village's staff and consultants to draft a proposed resolution for consideration adoption by this board reflecting the same.
Was that a motion, Dave?
Yes.
I was, yes. I can read it again if you want.
No, we're good.
Okay, roll call vote. Member Loda?
Aye.
Member Shannon?
Aye.
Member Hoppen?
Aye.
Chair Marshall?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Can I ask a chance to take a look at it, at the resolution and the conditions, so that we can make requests before it goes to a vote?
Yeah.
We can say no to our request, we can fight about it, but the board's okay with that. There's sometimes, financing issues or, technical construction issues that, might be more harm than benefit.
Christian, are you suggesting that in the potential next site plan resolution after phase 3, that everybody gets to see it first? Is that all you're asking?
Exactly. Well, no, I'm asking to take a look at the conditions before you guys approve the conditions.
Oh, sure. Bridget, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a document that will be available before the next meeting, and we can make available to the applicant. To the extent that you want to make comments.
To the extent that you want to listen to them.
Whether you want to listen to them or not is irrelevant. If you'd like to make comments.
Sometimes there's requests we make that don't matter to the board, but would be, really significant to the construction crews.
Just a comment in closing with regards to site plan before, you guys step away. From where we were years ago to where we are today with regards to this site plan, while our LWRP determination was not in the direction of your liking yet, certainly with regards to this site plan, I think you guys have come a long way, put in a lot of work, and I know it's been hard, and I just want to compliment you on all of those efforts with regards to site plan.
Thank you very much for saying that. We appreciate this board's review of the site plan and look forward to getting started. Great. Have a great night.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time.
Thank you all. Thank you.
For all your help.
Let's see. So we are going to.
Thank you very much. Otherwise, you'd wind up doing this resolution tonight.
No, thank you.
Have a great night. Thanks.
Thanks.
No problem.
Have a good night. So at this point, we don't have anything else before us. I just wanted to ask, as far as our next meeting, our regularly scheduled meeting, that is likely when we would move forward with phase 3, or just we wait for TY Lin to come back?
Well, we'll need TY Lin's comments in order to put together the draft resolution. At this point, I anticipate that will be done before the next meeting, that we'll have a draft resolution for the board to consider. But with the current state of everyone's health, I won't make any promises.
Yeah.
It seems that COVID takes out everyone this project touches.
And tell me as well, if you could, the resolution we passed to adopt the LWRP findings this evening, and the signature on those documents and/or the signature on this, anything else. Do I need to come in, Dorothea, tomorrow, or probably shouldn't come in? Should I sign it on the bench or something tomorrow or Friday?
We'll be
I don't
ready.
even believe there's a signature line.
There's no
for you.
signature. I don't think we've gotten signatures on findings before.
Yeah,
Okay, so we may not have on the findings, but the specific resolution, the LWRP resolution, it didn't contain a reference to the findings on the first draft. And so I don't believe I signed it yet.
I don't have the LWRP resolution.
Right. So
Yeah.
Bridget, if I could ask you maybe to send that, well, you sent it to me today, right?
send you the findings. I didn't send you a resolution for this. Or well, Mindy sent you findings. I did not send you, we made a motion.
Right. Well, I guess if you could just maybe tomorrow send a quick email to Dorothy and Kristen with
Sure.
the findings and the specific resolution that references those findings, and then I'll get in and sign it on Friday.
I cannot do that.
No?
No, I'm alone this week. Kristen's on vacation. I have other priorities, unfortunately. I'm going to apologize. I cannot make time. It'll be next week, the earliest.
I mean, you can't anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't want you near the
You're
office
quarantined.
anyway, to be honest, no.
Wait, so I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure I understand. All I need to do is have something printed and sign it.
But I don't have the printed document.
Right, I will prepare the document and provide it. But Dave, let's get outside of your incubation period before you're signing anything and giving it to anyone else.
Yeah, the only challenge is I think our 60 days is Sunday, the 7th.
Okay,
I can take it over and
if you'd like to.
I'll put it on. I just got over COVID, so I don't think I can catch it right now. Knock on wood.
Thank you for volunteering as tribute.
Yeah.
Sacrificial lamb.
Okay,
So
I would have signed it sooner, but it didn't have the reference to the findings. So
Dave, just print it out, sign it, and leave it on your porch, and I'll pick it up. How's it?
okay,
yeah,
that'll work out great.
Okay, let me know when you're ready, and I'll bring.
okay.
All right.
My apologies for being behind. I didn't expect to be here this week.
No, I think everybody did a great job. So I appreciate everybody's work tonight. And
I'm glad to see you all too. I would just rather see you when we plan to see each other.
yeah. All right. So is there a Dropbox, Dorothea?
Yes.
Oh, I'll just walk it down tonight and drop it off. Nobody will be around. And
I'm gonna have it.
You won't, it's not written.
You
It's not
gotta wait for
prepared.
Bridget to send it to you, dear.
no, I'm sorry. I have the LWRP determination.
Oh, wait.
What?
I thought you said you didn't.
What do you,
Yeah. No, I have it.
you,
I just found, all right, never mind. Basically, the one that you had sent to me via email, or let me see who sent it.
Mindy sent you findings, but there's nowhere for you to sign the findings.
Did she send you a
Sent
resolution?
me a resolution as well.
Oh,
I
okay.
saw that.
Apologies. I was cut out of the,
Of the loop on that one. Okay, so yeah, we're talking on both sides of this discussion, but it
sorry.
looks like I've got the official one. I'll sign it and drop it off. And then the findings, do we put the findings in the resolution in the same PDF, or are they always separate documents?
They'll be together.
They're
They don't-
together once they're right.
They
And
live
then-
together.
Okay, and then when did they get posted, Dorothea, to the website?
We can get them posted probably next week.
Okay, that would be great.
Thanks, Dave. Sorry for not.
And if you can send me what Minnie sent you, please.
Yep, so let's, I will do that. She sent it August 7th, 7. Okay, nope, I can find it. I'll get it out to you. I think everybody got the copy on
I just
at 4/26 on Tuesday, August 2nd.
Didn't get that?
No, all right, well, I don't know why I have a copy, but I'll get it around.
yesterday. She wasn't.
All right, so thank you, everybody. Appreciate all your hard work.
Can we motion to close, please?
Motion to close.
Second.
Member Loda?
Aye.
Member, Chairperson Marshall?
Aye.
Member Shannon?
Aye.
Member Hopkins? Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, David.
Feel better.
Feel better.
Yeah, thanks. I'm feeling fine. Just